Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into fascinating topics to help you get well-informed fast. Today, we're exploring the incredible, often invisible world of habits.
Yeah, we really are creatures of habit, aren't we? Often without even realizing it.
Totally. Think about it. That compulsive phone checking when you feel a little anxious or lonely.
Hmm.
It's a pattern. Dr. Diana Hill, the clinical psychologist, she talks about this openly, how it can subtly interfere with what you actually care about, like, connecting with your kids.
Right, it's a perfect example. These patterns, even the small ones, they could really steer us away from what we intend to do.
So our mission for this deep dive is to, well, pull back the curtain on the neuroscience. How do these patterns actually form in our brains?
And why are they so powerful?
Exactly. And crucially, find some practical, science-backed ways to maybe deconstruct the unhelpful habits and build ones that are more values-rich, ones that actually serve you.
Okay, so to give you that shortcut, we've looked at some great sources. Our main guide is Dr. Diana Hill, and she draws a lot from her interview with neuroscientist Dr. Judson Brewer.
Ah, the Craving Mind author.
That's him. And we're also weaving in perspectives from Dr. Joe Isbister, who does a brilliant job linking the brain science stuff to strategies from bestsellers like James Clear's Atomic Habits.
Okay, great. So let's start with just how automatic this stuff becomes. It's kind of wild how unconscious most habits are.
It really is. You often don't even notice you're doing it until you're already halfway through the action.
Yeah. And the really fascinating part isn't just knowing the cycle, but understanding the brain mechanics behind it all. What's going on under the hood?
Well, what's really foundational here is understanding the key brain players. It's mainly about this synergy, this sort of dance between the prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia.
Okay, break that down. Prefrontal cortex. That's the thinking part.
Exactly. That's your brain's CEO. Decision-making, goals, planning, that's its job. It initially charts the course for an action.
Got it.
But as you repeat that action, as it becomes a habit, the basal ganglia starts to take over more.
And a basal ganglia is?
Think of it like your brain's autopilot, or maybe its habit factory. It handles motor control, procedures, the stuff you do without thinking. So the action shifts from conscious choice to almost automatic.
Which makes sense why it feels so mindless sometimes.
Precisely. And this brings up a really important point. What happens when we're stressed?
Ah, yeah.
As Dr. Jeb Brewer puts it, that prefrontal cortex, our CEO, can actually go offline.
Offline when?
When we're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
Yeah.
He uses the acronym HLT.
HLLT. Okay, so when you're feeling those things.
Trying to rationally think your way out of anxiety or a craving often just doesn't work.
Because the thinking part isn't fully online?
Exactly. It's not fully engaged.
Wow. Okay, and here's something that really grabbed me from Dr. Brewer's work. Everyday habits, things like overeating, worrying, checking your phone constantly, they can activate the same reward pathways in the brain as actual drugs of abuse. How does that work?
Yeah, it's powerful stuff. Your orbital frontal cortex, you could call it.
Yeah.
Your brain's internal satisfaction accountant is constantly updating the reward value of things.
The reward value, like how good it feels.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
How rewarding the brain perceives it to be in that moment.
Yeah.
So after that quick sugar rush from chocolate, your brain remembers that immediate pleasure, and it nudges you back towards the chocolate next time, even if you know broccoli is better long term. This part of the brain is all about immediate payoffs, often operating below conscious awareness.
Okay, so the brain's wired for these short-term rewards, pushing us into these patterns. How do the habits actually, lock in? You mentioned trigger, behavior, results.
Exactly. It's a remarkably simple loop, fundamentally. The trigger is the spark.
The cue.
Right, the cue. It could be external, your phone buzzes. Or internal, you feel that familiar nod of anxiety or craving or just stress.
Okay.
The behavior is what you do when the trigger shows up. Pick up the phone, grab the cookie, maybe snap at someone, and the results are what happens next. And this is key. Triggers might start the habit, but it's the results, even if it's just brief relief, that fan the flames and make you want to do it again.
So the result reinforces the whole loop.
Precisely. And if we zoom out a bit, James Clear in Atomic Habits talks about a really similar cycle. Cue, that's the noticing, the cravings, the wanting, then response, the doing, and finally reward, the liking.
Cue, craving, response, reward.
Okay, what's happening neurologically is that every time you repeat this loop, those pathways in the basal ganglia, the habit factory, they get stronger, more efficient.
More ingrained.
Right. And as they get stronger, the prefrontal cortex, the CEO, becomes kind of subservient. It takes a back seat in that moment. Like Clear says, you become what you repeat.
It's pretty startling to think that neurologically the brain doesn't really care if it's a good habit like running or a bad one like
What?
smoking.
Nope. From a mechanical perspective, it's the same process.
Wow.
And a really critical piece here is neurotransmitters, especially dopamine.
Dopamine, the pleasure chemical.
Well, it's more about motivation and reward prediction. But yeah, it's released when we experience pleasure or reward, and it directly strengthens those neural connections for the habit.
So it basically tells your brain, hey, that was good, remember this, do it again.
You got it. That rewarding feeling encourages repetition. And our brains, being efficient, tend to prioritize short-term rewards over long-term benefits.
Which explains why the cookie wins over the salad sometimes, even when we know better.
Exactly. The most sticky habits often give us immediate pleasure or, just as importantly, immediate relief from discomfort. They distract us.
Okay, so this sounds kind of deterministic. If habits are automatic, deep in the brain, fueled by dopamine, how on earth do we break the ones that aren't helping us?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And this is where Dr. Judson Brewer's work on curiosity and mindfulness is so important. It offers a real way out.
Curiosity and mindfulness, how does that help?
What's really transformative is that bringing curiosity, just genuine open attention to your cravings and habits, can fundamentally change your relationship with them.
How?
It actually helps to deactivate the very brain areas involved in the craving itself. It creates space.
Space between the trigger and the automatic reaction.
Exactly. Space to pause and choose more wisely instead of just reacting on autopilot.
Okay, so how do we cultivate that?
Diana Hill lays out 3 really practical steps based on Dr. Judd's work. First, observe your habit cycle.
Let's watch it.
Yeah, like a scientist. Next time you catch yourself doing that unhelpful habit, just notice, what was the trigger? What exactly did you do? What happened right after? What about later?
Bringing awareness.
It shines a light on the unconscious process. Second, get open about your triggers.
Open, like accept them.
Kinda, yeah. Take a more accepting stance toward those uncomfortable feelings, cravings, difficult thoughts. Don't fight them so hard. He uses metaphors like riding the craving like a wave or letting thoughts float by like leaves on a stream. Acknowledge them, but don't get swept away.
Okay, observe, get open. What's third?
Third, pay attention to the results. But really pay attention. Consciously notice the downsides.
The negative consequences.
Or even just the lack of real satisfaction. You eat the whole bag of chips. How do you actually feel afterwards?
Yeah.
By bringing awareness to how the habit isn't truly serving you, you start to decrease its reward value in the brain.
You're updating that satisfaction accountant?
Exactly. You're weakening its grip.
Okay, so that mindful observation, it creates that pause, that space you mentioned.
Right.
And once you have that space, you can make a conscious choice, which leads perfectly into building what Dr. Diana Hill calls values-rich habits.
Yes. And these values-rich habits, which are a core idea in acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT.
ACT, right.
They're powerful because they are intrinsically rewarding. They feel good in a deeper way because they're aligned with what genuinely matters to you.
Actions based on your values.
Exactly. And the more you do them and really focus on the fulfilling feeling you get from acting on your values, the more you naturally want to keep doing them. It builds its own positive momentum.
And that can lead to better relationships, sticking to health goals, better work.
All sorts of positive outcomes because you're driven by something meaningful, not just fleeting relief.
Diana Hill's own example with her phone is great here.
Yeah, hear that.
Her old loop was feeling anxious, look at phone,
Yeah.
get that quick short-term relief, but feel more disconnected long-term.
The typical pattern.
Her new values-rich loop became feeling anxious, look at whoever she's with in the eye and take a breath. Feel more connected, both short-term and long-term.
See, it's taking that awareness, that pause, and actively choosing a different path that aligns with her value of connection. Powerful shift.
It really is. But it brings up the practical side. How do we actually design these new habits, knowing the old ones are so ingrained?
Great question. And this is where James Clear's questions from Atomic Habits become super relevant neurologically. He asks, how can I make it obvious? How can I make it attractive? How can I make it easy? How can I make it satisfying?
The 4 laws.
Right. And what's brilliant is how each question basically hacks a different part of the habit machinery we were talking about.
How so?
Making it obvious gets your prefrontal cortex involved in planning and noticing the cue. Making it easy helps the basal ganglia automate the new behavior faster.
Reduces friction.
Exactly. And making it attractive and satisfying. That ensures you get that dopamine hit, reinforcing the new loop and making you want to do it again.
So you're consciously designing the habit to work with your brain's natural tendencies.
Precisely. Because let's be honest, intentions alone, they're usually not enough.
Yeah, good intentions pave the road to the old habits.
Pretty much. Our best intentions often get steamrolled by those older, faster, more automatic responses. But if you understand how the system works, like we've discussed, you can use your conscious brain, your prefrontal cortex, to design your environment, set up systems, use these techniques, basically put yourself back in the driver's seat.
Working with your brain, not against it.
Exactly. Aligning your actions with your goals and actually enjoying the positive brain chemistry along the way.
What an incredible deep dive. Seriously illuminating, unpacking how these habit cycles form in the brain.
Yeah, and seeing how things like curiosity and mindfulness aren't just nice ideas, they're actual tools to disrupt unhelpful patterns.
And then learning how to deliberately build habits that actually line up with what you truly value. It feels empowering.
It really does. Because understanding these neural mechanisms means you don't have to feel like a victim of your automatic brain.
Right.
Instead, you can consciously use your brain's own pathways, its reward systems, to your advantage. You can build a life that feels more intentional, more fulfilling.
One conscious choice at a time, building those values-rich habits.
You got it.
Okay, so for your final thought today, maybe consider this. Think about one small, seemingly insignificant daily habit you have. Just one. Does it genuinely serve a deeper value for you? Or does it kind of subtly push you away from what truly matters? And then ask yourself, what's one tiny values-aligned adjustment you could make to that habit, starting today, to begin re-engineering it for your own benefit?